I should have clickbaited the shit out of this video and called it Ninja Gaiden vs. Shinobi, the top 5 reasons for both, and the winner is not what you're expecting. Smash that subscribe. Welcome to the Retro Rocha Rewind, where a suspect gamer and comedian, that would be me, Jerry Rocha, runs his mouth about a retro video game. I mean, the series is called Retro Rocha Rewind, so that does make sense. Maybe I'll do a future episode where I have a heat check, and I do a video all about how exciting it was when my mother got a 2000 Flushes Blue for our toilet. But today, I want to talk about how I discovered, or I guess how I rediscovered, the Shinobi video game series. Like all good epics, it's a tale of absurd console loyalty, ignorance, and laundromats. And here it is. Now, I was a Nintendo guy. I still kind of am. One of my cousins had a Sega Genesis growing up, and when I would go visit him, we'd play his Sega, and I'd be like, yeah, these games are cute, but fuck this guy. This is what going to church every Sunday gets you. Shit like this. Give me Nintendo. I'd even conveniently overlooked that one of my favorite games when I was a little kid, Sub Rock for the ColecoVision, was in fact made by Sega. It was only with Sega and Nintendo that it had this like self-imposed rivalry line in the sand. I loved the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. I loved HBO and Showtime, Tupac and Biggie, Coca-Cola, and I've always thought Pepsi tasted like shit. Now, if Pepsi is watching, I've always wanted to like you, and if you want to toss a sponsorship my way, then yeah, that's what I like. What I think caused that Nintendo loyalty was not just how great the Mario, Metroid, and Zelda games were, but it was that Nintendo seal of quality that was on every NES game. It spoke to me. It sold me. It comforted me. I wanted that seal of quality on everything, on shit I was gonna eat, on dudes my mom would bring home. And it wasn't even just Sega. The TurboGrafx 16 came out, and I was like, fuck Bonk. Little did I know, the best Castlevania game of all time was specifically for that system. Yeah, that's right, I said it. Rondo of Blood. The Neo Geo came out, and I remember thinking, I'm not gonna ask my mother for like $8,000 fucking dollars or whatever that thing cost just so I could play fighting games by myself. And now when I was in the arcades, the loyalty didn't matter. Being in arcades was like being at a really intense bachelor party. There was no such thing as loyalty. There was money flying around. The ground was a little too sticky than it normally should have been, and your mom was waiting outside in the parking lot to take you home. In the arcades, all that Sega has cooties shit flew right out the window. Afterburner was fucking amazing. My arcading of choice was putt-putt golfing games in Dallas, Texas, and I remember one time I was there and I saw a cabinet, and I could have sworn I saw some of the Sega logo on it and what looked like a ninja, but the cabinet was being mobbed and there was no way I was going to get to it in time, and arcades weren't really for standing around and waiting unless you were next in line or a fucking creep, so I moved on to another machine. But no shit, the very next day, a Sunday, my aunt took me with her to help her do her laundry. I get to help her get stains out of a bra. How exciting. I mean, still better than church though. Walking into the door of that laundromat, I was dejected. There goes my Sunday, and then I saw it. That arcade cabinet that was mobbed at the putt-putt golfing games just a night before. There, sure enough, was the word Sega. There, sure enough, was a ninja. This was the game that had that line, and now there was no line at all. I mean, it was a fucking laundromat. What great aunt or divorced uncle was going to play an arcade game? I stared at that ninja. I saw the name of the game, Shinobi, and I was mesmerized. To prepubescent kids of my generation, having a ninja on anything was as exciting as when we were 14 and the HBO announcer guy said the movie they were about to show had brief nudity. Now, most of my aunt's quarters were for laundry, obviously, but she was cool enough to throw like 4 or 3 my way so I could play a little bit of this Shinobi game, and I got far enough to where my mind was blown. I was always able to make it to the bonus stage, and holy shit, that bonus stage. You're just sitting there flinging an endless supply of ninja stars to an endless horde of ninjas trying to to kill you. Every time I got to that stage, I would dream of having my own endless supply of ninja stars to throw at an endless horde of ninjas that were breaking into our apartment trying to hurt us, and I would save the day. Now, I couldn't wait for my aunt to babysit me so I could break her balls about going to the laundromat. I'd even drop hints like, oh my god, that bra smells like shit. This entire apartment smells like a dirty cooch. You sure you don't want to go do laundry? Then, after some glorious weekends that were too few in number, my aunt moved to a new apartment complex that had its own laundry room without any arcade games. Shit, it didn't even have a scuzzy guy to play cards with. No more Shinobi. It was over. And some things that should not have been forgotten were lost. History became legend. Legend became myth. And my dumbass had no idea that there was an arcade port of Shinobi for the Nintendo Entertainment System that could have played right then and there. Never even knew it existed, never even touched it. Later in life, there would be little whispers, little memories. I'd drive past the laundromat and go, I remember those used to be cool. Why? Why do I remember that? I remember hearing the Wu-Tang Clan song Triumph, and I think it was Inspector Deck that said swinging swords like Shinobi. And I remember going, oh, fuck yeah, Shinobi, that was cool, right? What happened to Shinobi? I guess Shinobi always existed for me as something in this tiny little window of my memory that I could never quite access again. And it wasn't until just a few years ago, decades later, after I'd first played that game and gotten to that stage, that I started really getting into collecting retro video games. You know, now that it's really fucking absurd and expensive. Great timing. And I finally gave the Sega Genesis a shot. Now they say time heals all wounds, maybe even the wounds that aren't even real wounds and just some dumb line in the sand you drew for no reason. Or maybe it was the fact that I finally started going to a therapist and I got my shit together and I quit putting so much emphasis on meaningless bullshit. And all those years I missed, I was a moron. The Genesis was incredible and it had so many cool fucking games for it. I dug it enough that I would go to retro video game stores just to browse the Genesis section. And one day while doing that, I came across a box and there was this awesome looking ninja with this awesome looking demon dude in the background, and I thought, I'm buying this thing sight unseen if it's inexpensive enough. And then I read it and I was like, oh my god, The Revenge of Shinobi, and it all came flooding back to me. The memories, the joy of playing about 5 or 6 minutes each time of that arcade game, always long enough to make it to that bonus stage. I could even smell the laundromat. I mean, I think I'll always be able to smell the laundromat. Shinobi was back, alive again, and next to this was a cartridge that said Shinobi 3, and they were both extremely inexpensive. I went from someone who knew nothing about Shinobi to a guy who was about to be able to pick up chicks with all he knew about Shinobi. I dove in, I played both games, I fell in love all over again. It was just like that book, Love in the Time of Cholera, except Shinobi. I'm still giving Ninja Gaiden a slight edge, but these Shinobi games are undeniably brilliant. They can't be denied. I also don't know why I inherently felt the need to pit these two franchises together. That's an American thing, right? Like, oh, so you enjoyed it, huh? Well, what if we put it up against something similar and made it fight? Who would win? I need to know! Oh, I should have clickbaited the shit out of this video and called it Ninja Gaiden versus Shinobi. The top 5 reasons for both, and the winner is not what you're expecting. Anyway, The Revenge of Shinobi, oh my god, it's such a wild-ass fever dream of a game. It's like Dolomite the Human Tornado, the video game. And like Ninja Gaiden, it can be beat the shit out of your controller, set it on fire, and spread the ashes across the 4 corners of the earth level of frustrating. Playing this game is kind of like watching your grandparents interact with each other. Like, yes, you know there's love there, but then there's just the occasional, oh, go fuck yourself. Like how Joe Musashi, the hero, falls back 30 feet every time he takes a hit. And then there's shit like this. There's this stage where like you double jump to go to the other side of the fence, but if you're just trying to jump regularly and stay on the side of the fence that you're on and you take a hit, you automatically go to the other side of the... I don't know what's happening. The same goes for the highway level. As much as I loved this game, I hope I never have to see this fucking stage again. I do know the red cars are bad. I figured that out. Stages like these two, it's like getting laid in an ER waiting room. Sure, this is fun, but still, let's never do this again. There is something to be said about a game, though, that break so much balls, but yet it keeps you coming back. And I think it's because the difficulty is not unfair. It does reward you for figuring it out. And this stage where you just jump from falling log to falling log, awesome. And as frustrating as some of the gameplay can be, what's really cool is when they let Joe Musashi do the Chuck Berry duck walk. It lessens the attacks out of nowhere, it adds a little bit of cool to everything, and it also brings that special, ooh, that stanks, don't it, X factor. And the best part of the Revenge of Shinobi, the bosses the game throws at you. It's a collection of, wait, is that who the fuck I think it is? You got kind of Shredder, kind of Terminator, definitely kind of Spider-Man, okay, Batman, kind of a inside-out Godzilla, a brain thing, and of course a glowing disco ninja. It was like the game made bosses out of every bootleg toy my grandmother would buy me from Mexico. I'm stunned Siskel and Ebert weren't bosses. In fact, I'm pissed Siskel and Ebert weren't bosses. Is it too late to patch this? If they put all these other motherfuckers in, I want Joe Musashi taking on Siskel, Ebert, the entire 700 Club, the Micro Machines guy, the old guy from the Men's Warehouse commercials. I want Robert Tilton and Geraldo Rivera to be secret bosses. The final boss is a guy who just headbangs, and it's so violent that his hair detaches from his head and chases you around the room, which is pretty funny, weird, wild, and a bit of a rub it in to a bald guy. Oh, and the whole time he's doing this massive stone wall is just lowering, about to crush your lady friend. It's a tense race against time that you feel right in the OPP. I finished the game barely saving her. In fact, I thought she had died, but I'd made it just in time. Oh my God, it was one of the greatest accomplishments of my life, and I'm fighting stage 4 cancer. And then it was time for Shinobi 3, Return of the Ninja Master. And shit, this one was even better! The graphics were incredible, the gameplay was better. Joe didn't fly back like he'd been punched by the sentry every time he took a bump. The wall jumping wasn't just a slick looking move, it was actually essential for getting past some of the later stages in the game. The crawling up on the ceilings was awesome. The levels were dope, you get to kill motherfuckers while riding a horsey, you get to kill motherfuckers while riding a motorized surfboard that he must have borrowed from the Ninja Turtles. One level seems to take place in a room full of mutant fetuses in a jar. You even get this wild-ass stage in a burning forest that I'm sure Marjorie Taylor Greene will soon use as proof of the Jewish space lasers that are being used against us. The bosses are still fun, but a lot more conventional for a video game ninja to take on. But thankfully, they're still fucking weird. The brain thing seems to have gotten an upgrade. You fight a giant sewer monster. And in the nod to Revenge of Shinobi's let's just see how many IPs can give us a cease and desist, they let you fight Mechagodzilla. Mr. Headbanger's Ball comes back for a rematch. And the final boss, the main Zed guy, this battle is awesome, and it looks like it's taking place as Dave is going through the monolith in 2001. And my favorite moment in Shinobi 3, maybe my favorite moment in all the Shinobi games I've played so far, takes place after the Mechagodzilla fight, when the entire level is just Joe jumping from falling boulder to falling boulder while fighting enemies. It's incredible, it's so much fun, and you even get to fight a Birdman feller at the end of it. This was such an incredible level. If they were to have made a video game based on the Julia Roberts movie Pretty Woman, there should be a stage where her character is having to jump from boulder to boulder while fighting ninjas. When I finished both games, I was so moved. I was so honored to have played them. I wanted to write a letter to Shinobi. Okay, fine. I wrote a letter to Shinobi. Shinobi, I'm sorry I missed out on you. At first, we had a fun little thing going on back in that laundromat, a brief fling. But now that we're officially going together, it's crazy that what drew me to you, that bonus first-person perspective stage where you tossed endless ninja stars at endless ninjas, those type of stages are nowhere to even be found in these Shinobi games for the Genesis. But they were so fucking good, I didn't even miss them. I didn't even think about them. It was like seeing Leonard Skinner and thinking, no need to stick around for Freebird. I like Call Me the Breeze even better. I never got to meet my real dad, but discovering you, Shinobi, has filled that void just a little more. All it took was me finally putting to rest some bullshit grudge match no one even gave a shit about that I had joined in the first place. This whole experience was like a 1980s coming-of-age teen movie where I was the cool jock. Come on, it's my movie, it's my thing, suspend disbelief. And the Sega Genesis was like the nerdy chick who shows up looking to prom all fine. And I'm like, oh fuck, I really like you, and I'm gonna see some boobs and we're cool. All we really need in life is to broaden our horizons and hope that every ninja experience comes with a little bit of brief nudity. Thank you for tuning into the Retro Rocha Rewind. Thank you for watching my channel. Please subscribe, like this video, come back early and often. Are there any games you want me to talk about? Let me know in the comments. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time. Welcome to the Retro Rocha Rewind, where a suspect... What? Less intense. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's try it again.